Yeah, you can go ahead.
So here's the agenda for today's session. I'll briefly tell you about myself, and then I would like to tell you my story about why I have chosen to become a remote work leadership mentor. I would also like to show you my own framework that I have designed, which makes IT leaders effective as a remote work leader. And then we'll walk you through the challenges which are faced by the current IT leaders and how can we handle them effectively. So I have 17 plus years of experience into IT, and I started as a developer and moved on to different leadership roles. However, since last 2 years, we have been experimenting so much of turbulent times. So when the pandemic hit 2 years back, just like you, I thought that it's going to be a matter of couple of months. So I thought, okay, I'll go back home. I'll spend some time with family. I'll take care of them. And then I'll be back to work with my colleagues. However, as we all witnessed, it turned out to be such a long period. And it completely disrupted the way we work, the way we look at life, and the way we approach work and life. So even my company initially, when they moved to work from home model, we struggled a lot in terms of getting everyone together and communicating effectively and partnering with the stakeholders. However, soon we adopted to that model well, and we noticed that our productivity as well as revenue was growing like anything. So my clients were super happy, my boss was happy, and even after so many years, first time I got to spend so much of quality time with my family. So they were so delighted to have me every evening join, tea table with them. And I'm an art lover, so I love to paint and I love music. So I could spend more time, practicing my singing and, creating some paintings. So overall, I thought that, okay, it's going good for me. However, in the midst of that duration, suddenly we witnessed almost 25 to 30 people from our organization leave in just a couple of months' time. Oh man, that was such a shocker. We thought that we are delivering great results, and even we had a great culture as a company. We cared for our employees, we gave them great benefits, perks, and they were growing, we were promoting them. So what is it that made so many people leave in such a short duration? So this really got me into a thinking mode. And somewhere I started this journey of self-reflection, wherein I started thinking how my own leadership style, how the way I'm managing things, is it suitable for the remote work? Am I losing something when I try to copy the same in-office model while working remotely? So that's how I got interested into this subject, and I decided to research more about this topic, and that's how I became an expert in this area. So I identified a few areas in terms of my leadership that I can reflect upon and that I can upgrade so that I can become an effective remote leader. So I observed that remote leadership needs a different type of mindset. We need to change our expectations from our team. Also, first time in the history of humanity, after so many years, we experienced so much progress, and suddenly, due to this pandemic, somewhere we realized what is really important in our life. Yes, Everybody wants wealth, status, and a stable job and a great career. However, this pandemic made us realize the importance of human values, the significance of human relationships, and what do we really value as a human beings. So I thought, okay, supporting employees beyond the professional relationship is equally important. Similarly, as I collaborated with stakeholders across US, UK, and Europe, uh, we could experience the cultural diversity and how they perceive different concepts such as time, deadlines, priorities, and even the language. So, which made me realize that how important the cultural awareness is in this context. So, building trust is one of the major challenge in remote work. We had a part of the team which we already worked with in office, and we had a very strong bond with each other. So we found it really easy to collaborate even while we were working remotely. However, when the new joiners joined us totally remote, and we haven't even seen those people face to face, but and then we started, training them and collaborating them. That's where I understood the importance of building trust in the remote environment and how we have to approach it differently than when we meet face to face. Meetings is like most of the leaders, they spend their time meeting with either their teams or different stakeholders. However, if you see the meeting model which we had in office, where we get everyone together and then we brainstorm and come up with a solution. So I see that remote leaders really struggle to get everyone together and bring them to the same table, because just like everyone, people wanted to reap the benefits of the remote work. So they like the flexibility of, they like to have this experience of dropping their kids to school, and while like they could take 1 hour of a break to maybe attend annual parents meeting, come back and then still finish their work. However, it has created different set of challenges for the IT leaders, where they notice that things are not happening on time, and somewhere it started affecting the productivity and the performance of the project. Also, I had to reflect a lot on my leadership style. What is my approach to leadership? And can I tune it a bit so as to become more successful in this model? So that's how I came up with this remote work leadership framework. Today, due to the time constraint, we'll be focusing on only 3 major areas from this model. So as I have gone through this journey, I got this new vision for myself that now my vision is to equip the IT leaders with skills and techniques which will enable them to effectively lead remote IT teams. And now I am on a mission to coach and train IT leaders with tools, strategies, and techniques to create belonging, connectivity, and high performance in remote teams. I surveyed around 30 IT leaders, and these are the challenges that I found in my survey results. So there are major 8 to 10 areas that are affected due to the remote working model. For example, the sense of belonging that employees feel with the team and with the organization, it really gets impacted because we don't have those many chances to interact socially with our colleagues. And also when we work with global stakeholders, it becomes hard to adjust with their time zones, wherein sometimes we notice that we are the ones who are staying late and accommodating them. Also, as I mentioned, the cultural differences really make it it's it's a different lens to look at it. So people from UK will look at your project timelines very differently from those in Europe, and they'll have a different concept of, what is that level of flexibility we can have in the deadline and whether we can change it or not. So there are certain countries who will put more effort into planning, whereas others will be little more flexible with the deadlines. Also, because of the limited visibility, this belonging becomes all the more hard. Now, coming to the second point, which is connectivity. We often take things for granted in life, and that's what I would say about connectivity. So in office, we have so many opportunities to meet our colleagues in a serendipitous manner, where we just have casual water cooler conversations or coffee breaks where we interact with them and we get to know them on a personal level. And in turn, it results in a better team bonding. However, in remote work, we don't have those opportunities unless we intentionally create them, because of which the collaboration gets affected. We take more time to build rapport with someone. The team bonding, it takes time to build. Also, we unless we take time out to talk to other leads and to understand what's going on in their project, we would not know about it. So these are some of the challenges that I observed with the connectivity. Third and most important is the performance. So performance of the team as well as the project. Now, sometimes people, they take advantage of the remote work, wherein they take things for granted and they really lack this ownership and accountability for the deliverables, because of which the IT leaders, they become so frustrated as they have to witness delays in the task completion, and with a lot of coordination required, because now everything you have to put it on your calendar. Unless you put it in your Teams calendar or Zoom calendar, it's not going to happen. And that, takes more coordination effort. Coming to the productivity. So it's unless we are used to visually observing people as leaders, and okay, just by looking at the floor, okay, we would know, okay, who is occupied and who is having some bandwidth, who is doing what. However, since we cannot see people visually, it becomes really hard to manage the workloads unless you are super organized with some project management tools. And oftentimes there's lack of motivation, and it becomes really hard to measure, okay, how much of the work is being done, who is doing what, am I utilizing my resources 100%? So all these challenges are posed in productivity. Now, remote communication is a totally different ballgame as compared to the face-to-face communication. So when we communicate face-to-face, it's very easy to understand the non-verbal and visual cues that the other person is sending. So we can very easily make out whether someone agrees with us, or maybe they have some concern about it, or something is going on in their life and they might be a little disturbed. However, in the remote communication, this is the hardest part. We can see that many times people would keep their cameras off, so you can only hear them, and it becomes super difficult, to understand what's really going on in their minds. When it comes to engagement, often we live in a world full of distractions. So we have Netflix series, and then we have Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, all the social media sites. So there are so many temptations, which makes focusing on a task really hard. And sometimes people get distracted, which in turn affects their productivity. Sometimes they get distracted because they don't develop interest in the work, and they have hard time, being committed and motivated towards goal. That's where the problem with employee engagement comes into the picture. Trust being super important. So trust is the foundation of any relationship, be it personal or professional. However, I would say remote work is only for disciplined and trustworthy people. But how do you know unless they prove it? So for any especially for a new joiner who is joining your team, establishing this trust and really gauging whether they can deliver or not, it becomes super difficult in remote work. And I have seen IT leaders witness wherein they see sometimes people fake the report. They don't report the correct status, and then 2 weeks, 3 weeks down the line, when the leader finds out that, hey, this is not done, this is a false reporting, that is so frustrating. So crossing the personal and professional boundaries is another important problem that happens in the remote work, which I also witnessed. So I witnessed that, at home, because I don't have to travel, I'm saving the traveling time. But at the same time, uh, sometimes, I'm sitting late night, attending calls or catering to the needs of some stakeholder, which kind of blurs the boundaries between personal and professional life. So we need a different approach to handle this, because now we are in this era where we have to integrate our work and the personal life. But unless we set boundaries in terms of following certain timing, it can create disturbances in our personal life. Mentoring the juniors. This is one of the biggest challenges. According to a McKinsey survey, the younger generation, they are eager to come to office. However, people who are their leads, mentors, they are in their late 30s, so they have kids and family. So they prefer this flexibility that work from home offers. And sometimes they prefer working more from home. However, due to this discrepancy, the juniors, they don't get enough time to spend with the seniors, and which in turn affects their mentoring unless they are really disciplined to schedule it online. The last one is technical issues, and I think most of the jokes around remote work are in this topic. So oftentimes you must have heard from your team that, hey, I have a power cut, so I'll be logging in second half. Or, hey, boss, my Wi-Fi was down, so I couldn't attend that important call. So we don't know, how much of it is real and genuine. But yeah, it's one of the major challenges in the remote work. Now, in the interest of time, we'll be focusing on three major areas today. That is belonging, connectivity, and performance. First is the belonging. So when we look at the challenge in terms of belonging, many times when we work with colleagues from multicultural backgrounds, and when we don't get to interact with our teammates, and we are not really exposed to the organization culture while working remotely. So that creates kind of a disconnect. So what is really belonging, and why I think that's getting affected here? So belonging is nothing but the employee's sense of acceptance to fit in. So every human being has the psychological need to be part of a group where they feel accepted and valued by that group. And that's what we call a sense of belonging. This is Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which I'm sure everyone must be aware of. So after the physiological needs and safety needs are met, the next level need is for the love and belonging, where socially we seek friendships, a family, and a sense of connection. And since we spend almost 80% of the time in our work, we also crave that feeling when we work for a company and in a team. So when employees, they are truly included, and when they really feel that the organization cares for them, and when they think they can be authentic, that's when they are likely to put more efforts. So to tackle this problem, I have created this framework, PASS framework, to create a sense of belonging in remote IT teams. There are four petals in this petal diagram. So first is avoid alienation. So when we look at the current scenario, we often see that sometimes the employees get discriminated by gender, age, race, or whether they belong to a rainbow community, and that can really create negative feelings in the employee, and which will make them shrink, and they won't feel like collaborating with everyone. So as a leaders, we have to develop this awareness and make sure that through our words and actions, we are not creating this sense of, where people feel as outsiders. So our job is to make them feel more and more included as a part of a group, part of a team, and part of the company. Second one is encouraging participation from all. This is pretty tricky. Let's say you are conducting a meeting in office and you have 10 people. So many times, just by looking at their faces, you can make out, whether they agree with something, they disagree, or they have no comments. But often when we are remote, not everyone is likely to voice their opinion. So there are personality types. Certain people who are extroverts, they'll talk, and they'll be the loudest voice in the room, and they express their opinions. However, we can have few people who are introverts, but we know that they are knowledgeable and they definitely have something of value to say. But just because of the way we are conducting meetings, they may or may not express it verbally. So in that case, we have to encourage participation. So I think here, adopting the written documents while conducting meetings and while doing the brainstorming is one of the important steps that remote leaders can take. For example, having a written agenda for every meeting wherein everybody can add their inputs, whether they can physically attend the meeting or not, at least they'll add their inputs so that they get a chance to express their opinion, at least in a written format. So this is one simple example of encouraging participation. So leaders, in short, they have to consciously follow these practices. Third section is showing care through our actions. So when the company and the leader, they are able to express, they are able to create this feeling where the employees feel that, okay, this leader really cares for my well-being, he cares for my growth, he cares for my development. And when leaders are demonstrated through their actions and not only words, that's when people are likely to put more efforts. So according to Gartner's survey, there's 24% increase in the amount of effort put by the employees, and also increase in the performance when they feel that their leaders and the company really cares for them. Fourth point is promoting cultural awareness. So as I said, different people from different cultures, they value different things. So certain cultures, they value task orientedness, whereas cultures like India, Asian culture, we value relationships more. So in order to and here nobody is wrong, so it's just that everybody is having a different values, so we have to meet somewhere in the middle. So to avoid any misunderstandings, the step number one leaders can take is to encourage cultural awareness, and where they ask the teams to take up trainings which will make them more aware and respect them the culture of the others. Coming to the second point agenda today, that is connectivity. So in terms of connectivity, we can see that it creates so many challenges, such as where people feel disconnected. So you must have noticed that while you were having this flexibility of the remote work, but most of us were really craving that social time, that fun time with our colleagues, and like discussing and brainstorming about certain idea, right, in person. And somewhere it also affects the team building and the information exchange and the knowledge sharing that happens across multiple teams in the organization. So what can we do about this? So connectivity, looking at a deeper level, when people have this healthy exchange of positive energy, where they feel heard and understood, that's when they create good connections. So according to the study conducted by an organization called Buffer, they found that 19% of the remote work cited loneliness as their biggest struggle with the remote work. Since last few years, you must have seen the challenges in mental health are on the rise, and people are feeling more and more lonely, and because they don't have this good trusting bond where they can share themselves with others, and that not only affects their personal lives, but ultimately it also affects their performance at work. So how can we tackle this issue of connectivity? For this, I've proposed this FBPC framework, where we can create great connections with our colleagues and the stakeholders. So why we connect with each other, right? Let's say, why did I connect with Ashutosh? Because I mean, he's such an expert into agile, and he's so passionate about sharing his knowledge with others, and he really cares about growing the IT middle managers so that they become better leaders. So that somewhere resonated with my own values, interests, and my vision, and that's how we got connected. Similarly, we connect based on some interest. So we have, let's say I have a friend. So let's say I'm empathetic, she's also empathetic. So I'm more likely to connect with her. Or maybe she loves music, I also love music. So finding employees with the shared interest and giving them the space and environment where they can organically create these connections is an important step these leaders can take. There are simple ways of doing it, such as having a dedicated Slack channel for maybe music, sports, or some social cause that employees care about, where they can engage with each other. I think the enterprise social networks are the most underutilized piece of technology to create connectivity and belonging. So in the past, I worked with another top global bank, where we had this Facebook-like site where, like, we could interact with our global colleagues, and that it not only helped us, uh, create good relationships, but like we got so many valuable inputs also for our projects. And they had this gamification model where it was like all the more fun, every day logging in and seeing, okay, you have this new badge, Pradnya, so it would pop up, and it made it so much fun. Second point is being intentional about connecting. So as I said, in office, we were automatically, meeting like random people, and, we were talking with them. But the way we take out time to call our best friends, maybe, on a weekly, monthly basis, similarly, we have to make sure that we are informally speaking with our colleagues, and we are booking the time in our schedule to do that. So for example, you can have a Monday huddle, wherein every Monday, 1 hour you block a time where you don't discuss about work, but you just discuss about how they are doing, what's exciting in their life, any issues, challenges they have at a personal level. So overall, we have to be intentional about getting connected with each other. Third, and the most important point, is psychological safety. Now, why do you think it's important? Unless I can be myself with someone, I won't really open up, and I won't really show up as a full human being, and I won't really share my real self with them. So the best leaders, they create the psychological safety where people are very comfortable even to share their mistakes and bad news. I would like to quote an example from Air Force here. So in Air Force, whenever any mission fails, they have to create a debrief. So debrief is very similar to the way we conduct lessons learned meeting. So we identify what went wrong, and then we decide, okay, how can I make it better next time? So in Air Force, the more value is put on how honest and how detailed a debrief is. And without really shunning anybody for their mistakes, they make an honest effort to improve the way they work. So if leaders can create this psychological safety, in advance, they would know about any problem areas, and which will help them tackle it proactively instead of being reactive, which can be costly. Fourth one is cultivating the mutual respect and trust. So trust and respect is the strong foundation on which any relationship is built. So I think it must be part of the value where, every organization and team should follow this. Coming to the third topic on our agenda, which is high performance. So every leader wants, their team to be performing at a highest level. However, in the remote work, we can notice that sometimes the employees, they feel demotivated because there is no visibility. Sometimes it can affect the recognition and rewards they are getting. And other employees, they might take it for granted, and they may not show the level of ownership and commitment that you are expecting from them as a leader, which ultimately results in poor performance. So what can we do about it? So here's the D&CC framework to enhance the team performance. You can shift certain behaviors and certain ways of working with this framework. So as I said, We live in a world full of distractions. So we have to develop habits of deep focus, wherein we have uninterrupted time, where we put all our electronic devices away and focus only on work. And then we can definitely take regular breaks so that it keeps us refreshed. But having slots of defocus of 30 to 50 minutes is likely to enhance the performance. Second is shifting our behavior from control to nudge. So I have this tagline: from remote controller to an effective remote IT leader. Sometimes I feel that the IT leaders, they feel so concerned and helpless when they think, when they see the deadlines are not being met, that they start micromanaging and they start controlling the other person. And they have good intentions because they want to achieve their targets. However, the results are totally counterproductive. Many times the employee will feel that they are not being trusted, and they may just act counteractive, and it may not serve the purpose, but it may ultimately spoil the relationship between leader and the teammate. So instead of reverting to the control, we can use the nudge approach. So nudge is a concept wherein instead of forcing someone to do something, you create an environment where it becomes very easy to take the right action. For example, let's say if you want your team to follow coding guidelines, then why don't you have some plugin in your integrated development environment, which automatically highlights the lines where they are not following the coding guidelines. So it becomes very easy to fix them and to really follow them. So this is one simple example. Similarly, let's say you'd see that people are not filling their timesheets in a timely manner. So instead of like writing them emails, and then those, then they get upset, right, with that, and you write them sometimes in the feedback form. Okay, so instead of that, so the nudge approach says that we can utilize the tools and technology effectively here. For example, Slack, Microsoft Teams, and other platforms, they have great features such as rolling out a quiz or creating a poll. So on a frequent basis, you can create those polls and quizzes, which create these seeds in the minds of the employees, and that's how you regularly influence them so that they take the right action which you want them to do, instead of directly like controlling them. Third is shifting the feedback discussion into a coaching discussion. So many times whenever, like, from an employee perspective, whenever they are joining any call for the feedback, so it creates this really weird feeling, as if like something is wrong with me, and I'll have my lead to point out like 10 areas of improvement, and not a very nice feeling to have. But I understand that it is something we have to do because we want to uh, challenge our team and we want them to do better and better. However, it's all about how we communicate in those feedback calls. So we can convert them into a coaching discussion wherein we ask them meaningful questions and we turn it into a positive frame wherein we ask them, hey, how can I support you achieve this? Hey, what are your career goals? And okay, how can I guide you so that you achieve your career goals? So that will make that experience more positive for the employee as well as a leader, and that in turn will help them perform better. Fourth point is individual performance to the contribution to team. So we noticed that In corporate, oftentimes we reward the star performers. So we have a lot of, we give a lot of individual awards and rewards, which is fine. However, in addition to this, if somebody is, helping the team to achieve certain goal, and if they are really like fostering this positive team culture by helping each other, then we should make an effort to reward them. And that's how, like, we influence others to do the same. That's what this DNCC framework is. So overall, I have highlighted 6 steps to high performance. So step number 1 is encouraging experimentation and problem solving. So yes, definitely, we are in the business of solving problems for our clients and our stakeholders. However, at the same time, we want to keep ourselves innovating. And innovation is a risk where we have to experiment, and that experiment can pass or fail. So we have to have the psychological safety, and at the same time, we have to give some freedom to the team where they show this courage to experiment. And that's how the innovation will come out. Step number 2 is setting clear expectations and measuring the performance. So we have to make sure that we have regular performance discussions, and we are laying out accurate roles and responsibilities and what is exactly expected from our team. Now, the measuring performance can be very tricky, because many a times, let's say, if you want to nominate somebody for promotion from your team, right? It's very natural, to nominate, just that loudest person, who will like talk to you and, come to you often and you have more face time with, right? However, if you try to apply same logic in the remote work, it can be very unfair to somebody, who is working remote. They are not, coming to office, but that, they are still delivering and they still have the leadership qualities. So I think revisiting our performance metrics is one of the most important thing that remote IT leaders can do. Third point is providing the right tools and technology. So being in the software industry, we already are using so many tools like Jira, Asana, Slack, Teams, and so on. However, I think when we work remotely, we can make more effective use of them, as in we can explore the features which can make our work more efficient. Next point is fostering a positive team culture. According to a research, for every 5 negative comments or negative feedback that you're giving, for every negative feedback that you're giving, you have to counter it with 5 positive feedback in order to have a high performing team. So they did some survey across business units where they gathered the data from with 360-degree feedback, and then they were trying to find out what is it that high performing teams are doing that others are not doing. And that's where they observed that they have more positive to negative comments ratio, wherein like if I have 1 negative comment, I have 5 positive comments. So we have to foster that culture of positive communication in the team to improve the performance. Fifth is offering professional development opportunities. So every individual, yes, they contribute for the team success and for the project success. But at the same time, as a leader, we have to care for their growth as well. And we have to make sure that we are giving them a right career path. And like we are really guiding them about what skills they need to develop in order to grow in their career. Oftentimes, the leaders, they miss this step, and that's where they lose the top talent to the competitors. Last one is supporting the work-life balance. Now, here's one interesting tip that I would like to share from a high performance coach. So one simple thing that they ask people to do is, if you're sleeping 5 to 6 hours, start sleeping for 8 hours, and you'll see that your performance has improved. So this can be, can feel little counterproductive, but it is so true. So when your employees, they can have good personal time, family time, and they can take good rest, that's when they can create high performance. So these are the 6 steps to high performance. I have created a survey wherein I would like to understand how you are measuring the performance of the remote teams. I'll post the link here, and I would request everyone to please take up this survey, and I would love to understand how you are handling it. Ashutosh, I hope is the link visible to everyone?
Yes, link is visible. So friends, just click on the link. It's a slider link. So I would request all of you to just fill in this small survey. I hope everyone is able to access the survey. You can just confirm it to us.
Yeah, I've opened up the first survey. I'll give 1 minute maybe to fill that, and then I'll
okay, sure. Yeah, I think we have got a confirmation, Deepa. Thanks, Deepa. So what I will do is, those of them who are on LinkedIn Live, right? I'm also sharing the survey with them. Just give me a minute.
Sure,
and I'll be sharing. Yeah, I'll be sharing the link with them also. So people who are on LinkedIn Live, just hold on in the chat box. You will see the survey link coming up. Yeah, so this is the survey link for those of you who are on LinkedIn Live. Wait a minute, I think there's some problem in posting it.
Sure.
No, I think. So what we can do is, if you don't mind, you can just give me a minute to share my screen, if that is okay. I'll just give them the QR code which they can use. Is that okay?
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. I'll just share my screen for a minute. And this is for folks who are on LinkedIn Live. We are just sharing a QR code. And of course, people here also can use it. And this QR code will help you to post the survey. Kindly confirm, folks on LinkedIn Live, that you are able to access the QR code. This is the QR code. Just scan it with your mobile phone, and I think it should work. Yeah, I think I'm assuming that folks are able to fill in the survey. People on LinkedIn Live, you can just confirm it there on the chat itself, and we'll come to know that you are able to fill this. Yeah, I got a confirmation. Yes, some of them are not visible. I've put a QR code, Divakar. You can just check the QR code, Divakar, and let me know. Okay, I think Pradnya, yeah, you can go ahead. I mean, if you want to share the survey results.
Yes, sure, Ashutosh. Yeah, can I share my screen?
Yes, yes, you can go ahead and share the screen. Yes.
Okay. Okay, here are the results. So I see lack of trust, too much time spent on meetings and distractions, building the rapport and interpersonal relationships, the lack of motivation, handling kids, interesting one, loneliness, lack of focus, distractions, poor collaboration, and even the availability and cultural alignment. Ashutosh, I have two more questions, but it's 8:57. Do we have time or?
Maybe we can take one more and then we can, yeah, do that. You can just paste the link quickly.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, yeah. And for those of you who are on LinkedIn Live, I will just share or you can even download the QR code for that and you can show that.
It's same one, Ashutosh.
Oh, the survey, the link is same. Huh? Okay, okay. Okay, so folks, the link is same. And now let me share back the screen so that people can see it on LinkedIn Live also. I'm just sharing the screen back.
Okay.
And so, yeah, this is the code for those of you who are on LinkedIn Live. And just it's the same link actually. And thanks, I think someone has already posted this on LinkedIn Live also. But yeah, just quickly, you can just fill in the survey. I've just stopped sharing. Maybe you can share the results now.
Thank you, Ashutosh.
Yeah, yeah.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, yes, we can see. Go ahead.
Okay. So I see some interesting answers here. By doing gap analysis or having live connect, completing work in time, putting everything on shared media, and Scrum style daily standards, no short-term targets are defined and made. Okay. Thank you everyone for participating in this survey. So we're almost towards the end of the session. So thank you so much, everybody, for being so focused and listening to me. I would love to hear your feedback on this session, and I would love to connect with you as well on LinkedIn and other social media platforms. Yeah, over to you, Ashutosh.
Thanks, Prantya, for the wonderful session. I know we are out of time, but if you're okay, we can take just a couple of questions. Is that okay? I know people are excited. So are you okay if we take a couple of questions? Prantya, I don't know if you're able to hear me. Yeah,
Yes,
okay.
we can.
Yeah, yeah. So maybe, yeah, we'll, in the interest of time, we'll take maybe a couple of questions and requesting participants to just restrict to one question from each person. And yes, you can always connect with Pradnya later on for any one-on-one question on this. So anyone would like to have a question, Yeah, Balganesh, go ahead. Yeah. I'll unmute you. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Ashutosh. So, Prajna, so how much duration or how much time period it may take if you follow this framework to get good results from the team?
Essentially, it will take, even it'll take same amount of time, because ultimately the remote leadership is, leadership, but it is more efficient, wherein, we try to make each and everything efficiently. It's the approach where, we focus on the workflow and we try to optimize each and every step of the workflow. And we really see, okay, like, how can I optimize it? How can I make it more efficient? So ultimately, it will save your time in the long run. And if you are asking about implementing these things, then it's going to take same time.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
Hey, thanks. Anyone else? Anyone else has a question quickly for Pradnya? Any feedback or any other thing? I mean, quickly before we finally. I know it's late, but yeah. And I know this session is coming after almost 2 weeks, and obviously I was not there. I was traveling, so I had a lot of other things to do, catch up. So obviously this session got a little delayed. But any questions? Yeah, you can always reach out to Pratnya. I mean, she's available for us. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel where this will get uploaded in a moment from now. Okay, and yeah, I think so. If there are no questions, then I think we can close the sessions. Close this session, sorry. But just before closing, yeah. So one thing I wanted to tell Pradnya is definitely, Pradnya, it looks that you have done great work on this. It's not something which is coming only from theoretical. I think you have worked very closely with the leadership in defining what that leadership, I mean, what that remote leadership model is about. I particularly liked the way you mentioned about the DNSS model and also that 1:5 ratio. I think that is something which I'm going to now definitely start implementing right from now, right? I mean, subconsciously, I might have missed that, but that 1:5 ratio is really a great learning and nudging, of course. That is something which I am taking it from my side here. So really thankful, thanking you once again, appreciating your perseverance in delivering this talk. Requesting folks to come on video if they're okay. And Pradnya, just a small token of appreciation from our side for our community for the good work what you have done. So please accept this as a small token of gift from our side. And yeah, looking forward for your book soon. So I'll be more than happy anticipating the release of the book. And yes, I mean, when it comes, let us know. I'll also broadcast it in my community platform that yes, you have authored this book and the book is ready for publication. So thanks once again, Pradnya. And yeah, wishing you a happy weekend and happy weekend to all of you also. So thanks, Pradnya, once again.
Thank you so much, Ashutosh. I really appreciate this opportunity.
Oh, sorry, Pradnya, I think you went on mute. Can you unmute yourself? Sorry, you went on mute. And I think everyone can unmute yourself now. You can unmute yourself and speak if you want to say some last words from Pradnya. Yeah, go ahead, Pradnya. Sorry, you were saying something.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Ashutosh. I really appreciate this gift. And I'm so thankful to you for, bringing us together. And I got this chance, to interact with so many senior leaders today. So really grateful for this opportunity. Thanks.
Thanks, Pradnya. Thanks all. And yeah, happy weekend to all of you. Thank you.
Happy weekend, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, bye.